He was hunched under the sink, close enough for me to feel the heat radiating off him. I stood frozen, caught between shock and a pull I couldn't name. He looked up, and for a moment, the air went still, something unspoken hanging heavy between us. I adjusted my robe, crossed my arms, the New Orleans heat clinging to the room. I asked if he was in a hurry. If you've been here before, you know the drill hit like, subscribe. It matters more than you think. New here. You picked a hell of a start. Thanks for showing up. Let's get to it. He was crouched under the sink, shifting slightly as he reached into the cabinet. The late afternoon light spilled across the kitchen floor, catching the lines of his arms as they moved. I held a teacup, untouched for minutes, the steam long gone. My robe wasn't meant for company, just soft cotton, familiar. Thrown on after a shower, I leaned against the doorframe, one foot tucked behind the other. I didn't plan to linger, but there I was. He leaned closer, reaching for his tool bag. His shoulder brushed near mine, the space between us thin as a whisper. It was soft, accidental, but undeniable. I didn't say a word. The moment stretched, silent, heavy with something undefined. My hand gripped the cup, the other resting on the doorframe like it belonged there. His shirt rode up slightly as he reached, a crease forming at his waist. I knew I should turn, say something, move, but I didn't. The kitchen felt warmer now, like the Louisiana summer had slipped through the window without asking. I shifted, tugging my robe's belt lightly, just enough to pull it together without tying it. When he finally stood, his eyes met mine. He didn't speak, just held my gaze before looking away. In that silence, I saw it not confusion, not surprise, but something familiar, unreadable, like a spark buried in ash. I set the cup down, the clink of porcelain on tile louder than it should have been, shattering the quiet. He looked up, wiping his hands on the rag tucked at his waist, his eyes tracking my slow steps. I moved closer, close enough to see the dust streaked along his arm, the way the light caught his skin. Here, I said softly, holding out a cloth from near the sink. I extended it between us, and when his fingers brushed mine, he hesitated before taking it. His glance was quick, but it landed like a touch. Something passed between us, brief but sharp, and I didn't flinch. I leaned in beside him. My robe shifted slightly as I moved, the belt loose but holding. I noticed how casually I was dressed, and I caught the way he looked at me, calm, steady, like he was reading something I hadn't said. I reached for the tool bag near his knee. So did he. Our hands met, paused, palms pressed together. Neither of us pulled away. I get it, I said, soft but clear, not backing down. His eyes locked on mine. When I stood, he did too, our movements almost in sync. His hand grazed my lower back. Steady, easy, just long enough to register. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. He stood close enough for me to catch the faint scent of soap on him. My robe's collar slipped open slightly, but I let it be. You don't have to go, I said, my voice low, careful. If you're not in a rush. He didn't answer right away. Seemed like he might. Then held back. His eyes said enough. I stepped back. Not far. Just enough to leave space. Then I turned, moving slowly toward the kitchen counter, knowing he'd follow. My fingers brushed the edge of the counter, each step deliberate. Behind me, I felt him, quiet, aware of every move I made. The floor creaked softly, his steps telling me he hadn't drifted far. When I stopped, he stopped too, closer now. His hand hovered near my waist, calm, still no pressure. Just there. I stood, feeling the weight of our closeness. The silence grew heavier, like it was waiting for something we both hadn't said. He moved again, stepping beside me, his arm brushing mine as he faced me. The closeness was impossible to ignore. His hand rose, fingers grazing near my jaw. Light, unhurried. I stayed silent, lost in the quiet between us. Our faces were close enough for the moment to feel different, charged with a current neither of us could deny. I saw a faint freckle near his cheek, his eyes steady, unreadable. His fingers slid to my hip, resting there, calm, no rush. I noticed how close we stood, but I didn't pull away. My hand lifted, touching his chest through the fabric, feeling how solid he was beneath it. My fingers traced the collar of his shirt, slightly open at the top. He stayed quiet, his eyes following my hand. He leaned down and kissed me. Soft, sure. His lips lingered, then pulled back slowly. His hand rested at my back, steady, supportive. My robe's knot loosened, but I left it. His forehead rested near mine, quiet, close, and for a moment, we just stood there, the silence saying everything. I took his hand, letting the quiet stretch, steady, unnamed. No words passed between us. I turned slowly, moving toward the sofa, not looking back. He followed. I sank into the cushions, our hands still linked as he sat beside me. For a moment, he hovered above the cushions, close, silent. Then his presence shifted toward me, solid, sure, like something long buried had clawed its way free. He leaned in, and we kissed, quiet, simple. His hand cupped my face, his thumb tracing the curve below my cheek. His touch was warm, steady, making everything else fade. My chest tightened as the robe's knot shifted, loose now against the cushions. His fingers rested near my waist, light on the fabric. He didn't move them. He waited. And I shifted, deliberate. The robe soft against me, the fabric near my shoulder slipping lower. I let it stay. The air felt cooler where it touched. His hands moved along my back, calm, focused. Each breath grew heavier, the silence between us deepening. I adjusted his shirt's collar, where the last buttons had come undone. It slid off his shoulder, and he stayed close, the distance between us shrinking in a way that felt inevitable. The sofa creaked as we shifted, his lips brushing the space above my collarbone, then pausing. The silence held. Each kiss was soft, quiet, given without words. I held my breath, my fingers on his back as he leaned closer. I shifted, unsure if it was instinct or nerves. His breath, uneven, warm, grazed my shoulder. His hand steadied me, one near my thigh, balancing me. He kissed me again, slower, deeper, like he'd finally let go of whatever held him back. I pulled him closer, my arms around him, not wanting the moment to slip away. His shirt hung loose now. My robe was draped carelessly beneath me. The air between us was warm, quiet, intimate. He steadied me as I sat beside him. No words. We moved together in silence, neither speaking. He leaned closer, his presence holding until my eyes closed. I exhaled, soft, surprised, real. My hands rested on his shoulders, steadying me as we stayed close, savoring each moment without rush. His breath slowed, mine too, uneven but steady. I leaned into him, the distance tightening with each breath. His face dipped to my neck, his breath catching. One hand found mine, fingers locking tight. The other rested beside me. Close, calm. The warmth grew, the closeness making silence impossible. Each second stretched, like time had narrowed to this moment. I didn't want it to end. As I leaned forward, it felt natural, unthinking, just feeling. His hands cupped my hips as I pressed into his chest. My hair fell around us, my breath quickening as I drew closer. His hands stayed, like he didn't want the moment to pass. The sofa creaked, but I barely noticed. I only saw him. His eyes held mine, quiet, stunned, like he couldn't believe I was real. I felt exposed, raw in a way I hadn't expected. My breath came fast, my chest full of something I couldn't name, like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing the fall was coming. He sat up, his arms around me as the moment shifted, closer, surer. We kissed again, less cautious, more certain. I held him tight, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. I caught my breath, everything else fading from view. A sound escaped me, soft, surprised, real. My hands slid from his shoulders. I sank into him, my breath still racing, my chest rising fast. Be honest. If you were her, standing that close, would you keep your cool? Or would everything change in that moment? Tell me in the comments. I'll read them. If you haven't yet, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching.